So it was a documentary on bees that my friend's son did, and it was called "Show Me the Honey." I was gonna say, I was impressed. That's awesome. I mean, come on, that's cool.
Yowza, yowza, yowza.
I appreciate a good pun.
A good pun, yes.
At Bruckheimer's expense. Go ahead.
A friend of mine in Toronto posted a photo at the Eaton Center of literally a line going around half the mall at the Apple store for people picking up their iPhone 6s.
Right here. All right, here it is.
I just went to Best Buy and there was nobody there.
Yeah, but they don't have any.
They have them.
The reason they don't have any, they probably don't have any of these because what's happening is this
they have them.
They have all both kinds.
They have both kinds. Like I went and looked at it. I went and looked at it, and I'm like, okay. And then told my boss, yeah, I'll take the 6 Plus. Like I wanted to see it. There was like 2 other people there. I'm like, oh my God, nobody's here. Does anyone not realize they have iPhones here?
It all depends. It's like you can get lucky at certain places. I ordered mine last week, and this is the 6 Plus. It came about an hour ago, so it's I like it.
Nice.
Now, do you have you don't have a Galaxy? You didn't have a Galaxy.
I did have a Galaxy, so I wanted to compare.
How much bigger is the 6 Plus?
Here we go. Right, this is the Galaxy, right?
Okay.
And here's the 6 Plus, so you can see. Let me see if I can sort of get perspective.
Yeah, it's slightly bigger.
Bigger. I mean, no, it feels a lot bigger. It's not, but it's also way thinner.
Yeah. You have a hard time putting that in your pocket, though, don't you?
No, not at all.
No.
I'm good at putting things in my pockets.
Josh, that's why I get big phones, because I want to feel that phone on me 24 hours. So I want to know that I have it.
Like here's the iPhone 4, right? I mean that gives you a big perspective, right? So that's like.
Oh my God! Wow.
Now, the Galaxy
the screen's bigger. All the icons are bigger. That's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Did you see the? Did you see the video?
Straight up, right? So let's see if I can.
Mike, did you see the video on my phone this morning in Perth, Australia? They were interviewing the kid that bought the first iPhone 6. He comes outside and the TV announcer is like, "Hey, let's see it, take it out." And he takes it out and he drops it on the ground.
No way.
Jeez. Why did he know that was gonna be this? Jeez.
And then he picks it up and he's like, and you just hear everybody, like the crowds are, they're like, "Oh!"
Did it break?
They didn't show it, but I think it did.
Oh God!
Here, let me show it. I'm going to show it.
No, don't show it. Don't show it.
It takes 2 seconds. It's 2 seconds. Come on.
It's big. I mean, it's big, but it's not like okay. Let's compare it to like okay.
It's funny.
iPad Mini. All right, so try to see if I can compare this. If this works out somehow, like I got to maybe get back a little bit to do this. Let me see. Compare it to an iPad Mini. Okay, so this is an iPad Mini, right? So here's your iPhone.
Here it is, everyone. I want to show it. There.
Yep.
This is funny as hell.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
A young bloke called Jack walks out with the very first iPhone, okay? So obviously there's a rush of people running up to Jack, and here is what happened when I ran to Jack. Have a look. So this is the normal iPhone, is it?
This is just a normal iPhone 6. Yeah, I didn't want to
Okay, all right. We're doing the reveal. His name's Jack.
It didn't break. It didn't break.
He's looking at the.
Funny, like this is. It actually fits perfectly fine in your pockets. In your pocket, honestly, I was surprised. It's not a problem. I was worried too. Like I went in and looked at them today because my wife wanted one, and I had ordered her the bigger one, and she said that and I just felt like this is going to be too big for her. So I went in there and I was looking at the sizes this morning at Best Buy, and was going to get her a smaller one, but she's convinced she wants the bigger one. So but a smaller one, it's really weird. The one thing I'll say is Apple, it's just this is probably too big, and the other one is probably too small. Like there is definitely a middle ground.
The 6 is too small, and the 6 Plus.
Yeah,
is too
like when you look at the 6, you're like, that's too small, and you look at this one, that's a little big. I mean, it's just it's I mean, there's so like an iPad, right? An iPad Mini. Okay, so that's and it's not that much smaller than an iPad Mini, right? So this is
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, the 6 Plus does look pretty sizable. I actually like the size of the Galaxy. Not this is phone buzz here on HockeyBuzz.com. No, but
yeah, no,
I
I
like
know
the size of the
a
S5.
lot of you guys are technology people out there too, and I'm actually going on a tech show later today, the Daily Tech News Show with Tom Merritt that I've done a couple times before to show off because I'm the only guest he has, I think, that has an iPhone yet. So I'm going to go on and kind of just show it off and stuff like that. But I have not had an iPhone since the iPhone 3G. So I skipped all the 4s, all the 5s. I went to Android phones. I went to Windows phone. But this one I decided to come back on. So I like
all of my smartphones have been Androids. Every time I've had a chance to change, I've looked at the iPhones and thought that they were too small. Now I just bought this one, so it's going to be 2 years before I get a new one, unless I want to pay a ridiculous amount of money to get out of my contract. But I'll check it out and see if I like it or not.
This is the cool thing. I mean, it is unbelievably thin. It's hard to really tell, but you've seen like when you've seen people who have the new iPod touches, like the newest iPod touches, which are just paper thin. That's really what this kind of feels like.
See, I'd be afraid I'd snap it.
Yeah, you would think so, but it's really strong. It's got this metal back. It feels very solid. It feels like a nice. I mean, they did a good job with it. It's got a great. I got it. Really, why I got it was the battery life. I really wanted big time. And for me, like to go to cover a game in a press box, I can probably get away with just this. Like I can blog on this. You know what I mean? Like for me, I hate carrying everything else.
That's been the one downfall. Final thing, and then we'll talk about hockey.
Yeah.
That's been the one downfall with me for iPhones as opposed to Androids, because the Galaxy you can take the battery out, whereas the iPhone it's a permanent battery. And I carry 2 batteries around, and the battery life is maybe 6 hours on this, so I have 12 hours worth of battery life. And I honestly don't trust some of these phones. They say, oh, we got 15, 16 hours worth of battery life, and then after about a year it runs down to about 2 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna see. I'm be very curious about the battery life on this. But I think I'll be able to take notes. I'll be able to interview. I think this will be perfect for the press box. That's really why I went for it, because
cool.
They said 24 hours stock time on that, Eck.
Yeah, I mean battery life is supposedly ridiculous, and I'm with you on. I've been carrying extra batteries around. That's one of the reasons I went to Android too. I must have 4 extra batteries.
How come I'm still getting green on your text messages though?
I haven't sent a text message out with this yet to you.
No, but I just sent one out to you and it went green.
Oh, well, hold on. Yeah, no, you know what it is? I don't have iMessage turned on because I had it turned on, and apparently I started getting all my wife's texts, and so there's something, our iMessage is crisscrossed somehow. So I turned that off, and this is now just a straight out text.
Because it costs me money every time I get the green. That's why.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weird. All right. Well,
because
that's your tech show for today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your daily hockey tech show. But I'll definitely bring up this again because I'm gonna download Game Center to it and check that out and see what it looks like on here. I think this is probably a great size for that. I bet it's because it's got a great.
Does it kill your battery?
We'll find out. We'll see if we can go through a whole hockey game, or a couple games with it. We'll do some testing because Game Center, it starts now, right? I mean, this weekend we got games coming up. So let's when are the first games? Are they Saturday or something?
I know the first Leaf game is Monday in London, Ontario against
Monday. Maybe it's Monday. I think maybe Monday the first games are. I should know that. We should know that, but I don't. Oh, the stuff that's playing behind me, guys. Jim wanted to know about the things playing. What I have is I have a couple Apple TVs back there, and that is the NHL Game Center Apple TV app. The reason I put it up there is I kind of think it's cool that it just scrolls through the team logos. I should probably put like a piece of paper over the other thing or block it out like this. Because the other side kind of looks weird, but I'll do that.
By the way, I made my best purchase of the day when I was looking at the iPhones. I went and bought. I saw they had the greatest Genesis hits on PlayStation 3, and I took it.
Dude, you have your thing coming any day. You know this, right? I've got 8,000 games coming to you. Modded Xbox I got for you and Mike.
I thought you were joking.
No. That has all the. It has. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you guys.
It was $5. It cost me $5.
Oh yeah, no, those are awesome. I love those things. Trust me, I'm not.
I love Sonic the Hedgehog. So. And
oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. All right.
Anyway.
All right.
Now we can move on.
Let's move on.
Sonic rocks.
Friday, September 19th.
Friday, September 19th. Hey Ryan, I'm
sorry.
Hi Anderson today. You want to jump on? You want me to invite you? I guess I probably could. Because Ty's in Boston today, so maybe we'll invite Ryan and see if he wants to come on later. All right, let's start the show though first.
Still no word on Claude Giroux.
Yeah, let's get into that right away. Hello, Hockey World.
Sorry.
That's all right. Hello, Hockey World. Man, the dogs are keeping me awake at night. Something fierce right now. 3 a.m. They both decide they want to go outside all the time. All right, here we go. Hey, Hockey World, it's Friday, September 19th, 2014.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Josh Rimmer.
And I'm Eklund, and damn straight, that's the date I got it right, which is really rare if you've watched the show.
Shocking.
It's almost shocking. As I tell my kids, I do something stupid every 24 hours, and more often than that. So, anyway, it is Friday. We made it to Friday, and we are going into the first weekend of preseason hockey. Woohoo! Let's hear it, guys. Try your best to maintain your optimism. Yeah, I'm going to invite Ryan Garner into the conversation as well. But Mike, but first, Josh, you have some breaking news, which Flyers fans will be interested in. Not really want to hear, but be interested in.
Breaking.
Yes, everyone in Philadelphia. Everyone in Philadelphia is cringing right now due to the fact that Ron Hextall has released a statement that Claude Giroux has sustained a lower body injury and is now being evaluated. Obviously, last year Claude Giroux didn't get out to a very fast start, had the wrist injury which he hurt playing golf in the off season, and took him a little while, I think, to collect his bearings and start putting up points. And this year, this injury scares a lot of people, especially those who play fantasy hockey and have him, ranked a top 10 guy. I mean, this is the Flyers, firepower. This is the main guy.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, him going down, it's scary. And but look around the league, a lot of superstars right now already have some injury issues. Like in Pittsburgh, we were talking about yesterday with Crosby and Malkin, and I know there's a few else out there as well. But Claude Giroux right now we're waiting on pins and needles to find out how bad that injury is.
And we have Bill Meltzer at the arena down there for camp. I'm going to go down there on Monday, but he's down there today, and I'm sure he'll text us in as soon as he gets some news. I just texted him to make sure if he hears anything down there. We just don't know. You got to hope it's nothing big. It would be hard to imagine it was something. It wasn't anything that seemed like it wasn't anything that happened on the ice necessarily. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be. But you never know. You never know. I mean, I don't think he hit himself with a golf club again or anything like that. So.
No, and I'll keep a monitor, guys, on this during the show if we do hear anything else.
Yeah. That's good because we got the people right there. As far as other news goes, the first games actually are Sunday. The first game is Sunday at 1:30 p.m. where the Columbus Blue Jackets will not have Ryan Johansson when they play the Carolina Hurricanes. And then Sunday, of course, the Sabres play in Washington, and St. Louis plays Columbus. And so they must have one of those good old-fashioned split games on Sunday. The Flyers have that with Toronto on Monday. Half the Flyers team plays Toronto, and half the Flyers team plays the Capitals.
Yeah, and the Blue Jackets will also not have Nathan Horton as well.
That's the other news. So what's going on with that, Mike?
Well, it was reported yesterday by Aaron Portzline that Nathan Horton has suffered. That they haven't released specifically what the injury was, but he was out for most of the early part of last year with a shoulder injury, then suffered, I believe it was a stomach muscle injury at the end of the year. Now, this injury they're saying is going to keep him out a significant amount of time. It's not a short-term injury; it's more of a long-term injury. So he may miss the start of the season. But with Johansson still unsigned, I think this gives Johansson a little more leverage, because now with Horton out at the beginning of the year and Johansson's contract situation in limbo, I think the Blue Jackets are under a little more pressure to get something done with Johansson.
I'll say. I mean, it doesn't make it dire or anything yet. I mean, they played a lot of time last year without Horton, and Horton just he can't win for losing. This guy has just really been an injury waiting to happen since I don't know, since he got to Boston, basically from Boston on. It's been he's such a great player, and they need him in a big way eventually. I mean, and he's signed, so we got to get him in there.
Yeah, I mean, last year when he came back, it was like adding a significant player at the deadline. Him coming back allowed them to trade Gaborik.
Yeah,
and his getting injured, in the latter part of the season. I don't remember if it was in the playoffs or if it was just before the playoffs. But losing him after he's come back, that was a significant loss for the Blue Jackets. Now, like I said, without Johansson, I mean, with that situation, I mean, I think right now they have to get that contract done sooner rather than later, because when players hold out until the last couple days before the training camp ends or into the regular season, PK Subban was an outlier. He won the Norris Trophy holding out a couple games. In this instance, they probably need to get Johansson in as quickly as possible to let him get a few preseason games in, let him sort of get into the swing of things, and then start the season. If it drags on, I think it's going to be a drag on the Blue Jackets.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And but I don't. Talking to people again today, I don't see Johansson getting done anytime soon, and I think that the situation has not gotten any better. Definitely, if anything, it's gotten a little bit worse. Maybe not too much worse. Johansson's now in Vancouver working out with other players. And Ryan Gardner, we're joined by. Ryan, how are you, Ryan?
Howdy, folks. I'm doing well. Very well. Looking forward to a nice weekend here in Jamaica.
Well, I know you're trying out for the Jamaican team, but the Korean teams today got in news. They got approval to be in the Olympics in 4 years. What are your thoughts on this, Ryan, as far as, adding teams that have basically they had to do the way they got approval is sort of like how you and I would get approval if we were putting a men's league in the Olympics, men's league team. They basically said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get players together. We're going to do this, and there's a 4-year plan to put a team together to compete against the best players in the world. I'm not so sure that this is a good idea.
I think it's a terrible idea. It's kind of the classic scenario. Anytime you have a host nation participating in an event simply because they're the hosts, they get throttled, and I don't think it's going to be a good show when you have a team losing 14-0, 16-0 on Olympic ice. I just don't see the point of it. Actually, I mean, I don't understand why. I know that they said they're going to commit a certain amount of dollars to the program and bolstering it with coaching and things like that, but doesn't make much sense to me.
No, it doesn't, and I just don't think I don't think it does anything for your country's morale to go and witness these games. I mean, I know you want your team, you want a country, and hockey is such a big sport in the Olympics, obviously, but I don't see this helping anyone. I don't. It's hard to imagine in 4 years they can put together a team that can even, compete as well as a lot of, no joke, men's league teams probably could in Canada. Some of the better men's league teams. I hate to say it, but that's the reality. Mike, your thoughts on this one?
Sorry, I just got distracted with what Josh just reported here.
Okay, so Josh, give us what's going on there.
Well, I was mentioning camp opening up and injuries. there's as well. I can't talk today. There's also one in L.A. that's keeping Drew Doughty off the ice. He suffered a upper body injury apparently a few weeks ago. So the Stars continue to fall right now, guys.
I mean, if this was, I mean, you know,
Wow.
maybe it's better that it's happening now rather than in the middle of the season. You know, we've got 3 weeks to go until the beginning of the regular season, and if somebody's going to get hurt right now, even if it's something that keeps them out a couple weeks, it's better now than than around Christmas. But still, I mean, if Doughty is out and injured significantly, I mean, we don't know the extent of this injury. We don't know the extent of the Giroux injury. I said to you guys before we started the webcast that David Clarkson and Tyler Bozak are not on the Leafs training camp rosters right now for the scrimmages they're going to run this week.
Wow.
You know, these are significant players, and if they're out long term, I mean, it's going to have a detrimental effect on these teams at the beginning of the season.
I mean, obviously, we're talking about two players in Doughty and Giroux who are easily the most important players on their teams, I think. I mean, I think Doughty was the best, you know, I wrote a blog about this, that he was the best hockey player last year, you know, like as far as if you combine everything that happened from Olympics to regular season to NHL playoffs, it's hard to kind of think that anybody had a better year as a hockey player than Drew Doughty did. You know, Carey Price, maybe if he hadn't gotten hurt, could have competed on that level, but you know, Doughty was the man. He's incredible for the Olympic team, and he's hugely important for the Kings. So, yeah, that's a big blow. It's a very big blow. And Giroux is the same thing for the Flyers. I mean, the Flyers need Giroux in the worst possible way.
And Horton for the Blue Jackets. Go ahead, Josh.
Yes, more news, guys. The St. Louis Blues have added another PTO to training camp. Former Penguins Oilers defenseman Ryan Whitney is now on a PTO to the St. Louis Blues, joining Biz Nasty.
What teams? Yeah, Ryan Whitney. Wow. Okay, so I'm a Whitney guy. I'm a Whitney fan. I think that's not a bad move for them. You know, what do you think? You're very familiar with Whitney. Another Ryan, by the way. We just
another Ryan, another handsome Ryan. But
Ryans.
Well, he was invited to the Blues camp last year for a PTO and didn't end up sticking with the club, and so this is just kind of a reverse of last season, you know, kind of replaying it again, see what he has left in the tank. And for him, the only issues have really been the injuries that he's had, the foot problems that have limited his mobility, and unfortunately, those are injuries that he's proven that he just can't get over. And so if you can't move and mobility, you're a puck-moving defenseman, that's your game, it's going to be tough for him to stick.
Yeah, and he went to Florida last year, and mean, I believe Florida waived him around January or early February. So he did really, you know, and that was a team that was struggling to have defined defensemen, or if the guy had any quality last year, they would have kept him, but they ended up waiving him. This to me follows that maybe he could be a candidate for a seventh defenseman spot with the Blues. Or maybe they're just giving them the opportunity to practice with the team.
Yeah.
Guys, Mike mentioned about the Maple Leafs a couple minutes ago, and now the fan is reporting that Leafs PR told them that Clarkson and Bozak are indeed on the shelf, and Coach Carlisle will not be talking today to discuss it.
Awesome. Way to go, Coach.
Keep no idea
everybody in the dark. Always good. You don't want to tip your hand for Monday's preseason game versus the Flyers. Make sure none of us know what exactly is wrong with these players.
We should call this Injury Friday.
Lord. Let's look for some good news, and I've got some good news here, so let's go there. According to ESPN, the Toronto Maple Leafs are ranked the worst sports franchise in North America.
Great news.
This is
You just stole my article for today.
I'm sorry. You're gonna write about this?
Well, I'm going to mention it.
You should definitely debunk this, Mike. I hope that you're going to go, because this is ridiculous. I mean, no matter what you want to say, the Toronto Maple Leafs are not the worst franchise in North America. Come on now.
First of all, I'm surprised that ESPN reported this, because reporting anything on hockey is anathema to that organization. But
remember they're the evil stepbrother of TSN too. So yes, they are the same company.
Yes, I do know that, but no, I mean the methodology of this poll is really skewed because it uses ticket prices and results in terms of like what the team does. So honestly, I think it's flawed because honestly, there are teams out there like the Florida Panthers that have not made the playoffs in the same amount that the Leafs haven't. But since their tickets are $2 for a season ticket,
Right.
they're not as ranked as far down. You're in a hockey mad market that has 12 million people in the GTA, fighting to get into the ACC, and it's not exactly easy to get into the playoffs in the NHL, no matter what people say. I mean, I know maybe I'm coming to the Leafs' defense too much, but 16 out of 30 is a 50-50 proposition.
This is ridiculous. I mean, you're right. You're right about. I mean, first off, if the prices are expensive, right off the bat, that tells you that people want to watch this team. So you can't call them the worst franchise right there. I mean, to me, that's the issue here. Okay, they're saying because you have to pay the most and they do the worst, I guess, is the idea here. But
yeah, it's the worst. According to them, the Leafs are the worst bang for the buck. That's what they're saying. And honestly, I don't think that being the worst franchise it can be explained by being the worst bang for the buck. If they had made the playoffs last year, which they should have if they hadn't collapsed down the stretch, then they probably would have only been 115th instead of 122nd. I still think that's pretty flawed.
Yeah, it is pretty flawed. I mean, the categories are as such. So let's get through them really fast here because this is interesting. All right, so the first one is affordability, which we just talked about, where the Grizzlies are number 1. And then the Maple Leafs are number 122. Coaching, strength of on-field leadership, the Spurs are number 1 and the Panthers are 122. This is that's like just how do you make that conclusion that the Panthers are the worst coach team in the NHL? I don't know. And then also, the Leafs are not a badly coached team, so this category they shouldn't. Fan relations, the Spurs are number 1, of course. Again, why? I mean, I get the whole San Antonio Spurs, but come on. The Knicks are last in fan relations. All right, maybe, but I think there's worse teams in fan relations than and so this is where I would say the Leafs aren't terrible with fan relations. I mean, all the games are on television. I mean, there's teams that aren't televised. Think about that.
Well, I mean, to me, there seems to be a little bit of a dichotomy here between, San Antonio, in spite of the fact that it's probably in the top 15 of population in the U.S., is considered a small market because the Spurs are the only professional sports organization in town. So they have a closed shop basically. And if they have a good PR staff and they're part of the NBA and I'm sure every one of their games is on television, that they're considered being more hands-on and more preferential to their media than the New York Knicks, who are in a media market with 25 million people. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think this is just filler for ESPN to criticize some organizations and to prop up other ones.
And okay, then they have stadium experience. Okay, this is where they totally lose it because they have the Islanders as the worst stadium experience, and that is by far not true. If you just because the Islanders have an older arena, that everybody says, oh, they got to get a new arena. When you actually go to an Islanders game, it's a great place to watch a game. You're right on top of the players. It's very loud in there when they're playing well. That's ridiculous. I mean, there's certain things are totally, and they just every one of these. If you notice, they tend to go to these hockey teams like as the last, and it's just kind of ridiculous. The one I'll say that really kind of bothers me more than anything else about this is that TSN picked up this story because this is and this really goes into the whole, and people, I don't know, I'm not gonna get anybody in trouble, I don't think, by saying this, but the Toronto-based media that covers the NHL nationally has it in for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They hate them, and in certain ways, and I've been around them enough to know that they absolutely despise them, all of them, and it's really rare to find one that doesn't. And I think part of that has to do, okay, maybe they've dealt with the team too much, or maybe they hear too much about the Leafs and they're trying to be a national broadcaster or whatever. But there's a real anti-Leaf thing that goes on in the national media, all living in Toronto, all broadcasting out of Toronto. So I've seen this many times, and I won't make Josh comment on that. But I think that's honestly one of those things that, to me,
I mean,
it's not fair.
To an extent, I think that's true, but also, the thing is that not all of those media people are from Toronto. So they may be from Western Canada,
Right.
they may be from the Maritimes,
Fair enough.
Just because they're based in Toronto doesn't mean that they grew up around this team. So I mean, in their defense, they have to talk about a team because Toronto is, it is the epicenter of the hockey world. I mean, it's Toronto and Montreal, and I mean, don't get me wrong, fans in Calgary, fans in Edmonton are just as devoted to their organizations, but the fan base, again, when you have 12 million people in the greater Toronto area all wanting to get into the ACC, all wanting to see every preseason game.
Yeah.
The radio stations doing 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. from their practice facility versus
Exactly.
training camp. The hunger is unbelievable. So they have to feed that hunger, and they have to report on that team every day. And if they don't, they're going to be paying the piper because the people who are listening to them on the radio and watching them on TV want information.
Yeah.
But, Mike, that's where the resentment and the angst and the hate for the team comes in, just like you said, because Toronto is the epicenter of hockey, the hockey world. And most hockey fans, even if they don't feel a certain way about the Maple Leafs franchise themselves, they're looking and saying, this is the market that represents our sport, and they can't make the playoffs consistently. They haven't been to the Stanley Cup final in how many years? 40 years, right? And so you're looking at it, it's like if baseball didn't have the Yankees, or if they had the Yankees and the Yankees were perpetually horrible. It drags your entire sport down. And then all we're getting the majority of news about the Toronto Maple Leafs. And so that's obviously going to lead to angst. It's like having a presidential administration that stinks forever, but yet people
I think we know what that's like.
Keep supporting it, right?
Absolutely. Oh, man.
And the other thing is, it comes down to bang for the buck because, yes, the Maple Leafs could charge $1,000 a seat, right, for the ACC, and people would pay it, and they'd fill the building every night. However, they could also charge $20 a seat the way the Florida Panthers do. No one is saying to the Maple Leafs, you have to alienate your fan base. You have to make this the hottest ticket. You have to price people out of even attending your games, right? And so I think that's look, and the team is owned by Rogers. How much more money does Rogers need, right? They've named half the buildings in Canada. So it's just feeding this big business conglomerate. They're easy to hate for a number of reasons.
Yes, they're big brother, but the thing is, the NHL is benefiting from this because the $80 to $100 million in profit that the Maple Leafs make every year, that money is shared with other NHL teams and probably is propping some of them up. So I don't think they want the Maple Leafs to all of a sudden lower their platinum seats to $100 a ticket. They want them. They want those Toronto area businesses, those brokers on Bay Street, to be paying their $1,000 a pair for tickets because that's helping out Florida and Phoenix and all those other organizations.
Oh, for sure.
So in some ways, maybe the resentment is justified. In some ways, these other organizations should bow down and be thankful for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I don't think we're going to go that far, but yeah, I'm with you. All right, so here's my question for the day, and I posed this yesterday. I saw Adrian Dater on Twitter post out that the Patrick Waugh said his top two lines are Landeskog, McKinnon, Tanguay, followed by O'Reilly, Duchesne, and Iginla, which made me think to myself, is there a team that has a better top two lines in the NHL than that?
The Oilers.
All right, you're going to say the Oilers?
No, I'm just kidding.
Ryan, do they? I mean, they might. They actually have. They have the not maybe, but they have talent. I mean, they have the talent. They're close.
They could have the best line in hockey. They could. I mean, Nugent Hopkins, Eberle, Hall could give some teams a run for their money.
Right.
And if Draisaitl works out with Perron and Yakupov, that's the makings of a pretty good top six. No, they're not even close to Colorado. But
well, how about Sharp, Taves, Hossa, Sad, Saad, Richards, and Kane. That's another one.
That's where I was going at, but the inclusion of Brad Richards, I thought, would negate that that possibility for you. I also think like Boston, depending on what they do, I know that probably and I wish we had Ty on today. I'm assuming that they're going to move Louis Eriksson up on the line with Krejci and Lucic, and if the second line is Bergeron, Marchand, and Riley Smith, those are two pretty good lines. I don't I quibble a little bit with Patrick Waugh's combinations there because I still think O'Reilly is better served playing up the middle. Even if he's playing third line center, if you go with a top 9 and you balance out the minutes, I just think he's better served playing up the middle than playing on Duchesne's wing. And again, this feeds into the what I think that down the line, a year or so from now, that Ryan O'Reilly is going to be on another team because for the second year in a row he's being forced to play out of position.
True, but this is I don't know. I think Chicago, Dallas has a pretty good top 2 lines now. They can fight, they can battle this thing. I think at the end of the day,
you get Sagan and Ben on one line. Probably going to have Spezza playing with Ales Hemsky. It depends on what they fill out the rest of those lines with.
The Bruins are Krejci, Lucic, Eriksson, right? Bergeron, Marchand, and Smith. That's very good as well. You're right about that. So yeah, I don't know. It depends on how. But that obviously the Colorado line is the youngest line of the ones we're talking about. They have a ton of youth there, with the exception of Iginla, of course.
And the thing I'm surprised about, Ak, is that they're not taking advantage of the fact that Tanguay and Iginla played together a lot with Calgary, and that they wouldn't take advantage of that familiarity and have them playing on the same line. Plus, Tanguay's getting a little old, so Iginla's up there as well, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to keep up with the speed of a guy like McKinnon or a guy like Duchesne.
Yeah, I could say. What are your thoughts, Josh, on the top 2 lines in hockey?
Who do I think's got the best 2 lines in hockey? If they're healthy, it's Pittsburgh, right?
You think Pittsburgh?
If Crosby and Malkin are healthy, but you know what? I also like Colorado, and I like Anaheim as well.
Well, Anaheim, you add Kessler to the mix for sure.
There was another one I was thinking the other day. I'm trying to think.
And it's probably going to be Smith Pelly on the line with Getzlaf and Perry, and that would mean probably the second line would be Kessler centering. Could be. I don't know who they. Is Danny Heatley going to be a top 6 forward in Anaheim?
No.
Zetterberg's going to be
in Detroit.
No, but in Anaheim.
Maybe Silverberg.
Well, not Silverberg. Zetterberg, sorry.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
Yeah.
Of course, you got Hurdle, Thornton, Marlowe, Couture, Pavelski, and someone else. Who else would that be? Yes, that's solid too.
I think Los Angeles. I think with the combination of size and skill, and you've got some toughness in your top 2 lines. Kopitar, Brown, Jeff Carter, Marion Gaborik, Justin Williams. You got a Conn Smythe winner there now. It's tough to beat those guys up front.
Yeah, it's gonna. Most of these teams are in the West that we're talking about. I think so far, with the exception of Boston and Pittsburgh. All these teams are in the West.
Although, what about New Jersey? New Jersey could make a run for it, right?
New Jersey if you had the players from New Jersey 10 years ago, they made the top 2 lines.
The 2006,
Yeah, the 2006 Devils. I don't know. I'm not sold yet on New Jersey being that kind of a team. But you never every time I think New Jersey's gonna have a terrible season, they are just amazing. So take solace in that. Penguins' third jersey was announced. I don't know if you guys saw this. This is good. I like it. It's let's see if I can get a picture of it here. I think I have a picture. I can show this. I can share the screen here.
Now, is this a throwback? Because it looks very similar to the Mario Lemieux 90s.
No, it's totally a throwback. Check this out. So this is I like this video too.
Building. Yeah, here you go.
This brings back memories of Bob Airy to me.
Yeah, this is exactly. This is like 90, 91, 92 era. Yeah,
Yep, that's it.
that's that's Mario Lemieux and
Mario Lemieux.
Yager and
Bob Airy and
Tom Barrasso and
Kevin Stevens.
I like it. It's based in history. I like that. It looks good.
Yeah, I like it too. I like when teams go back like this. I never got your opinion on my San Jose Sharks idea for their ice for their outdoor game. Did you saw this? Did you see this, Ryan, that I put out there?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to bring that up. Give me a second. I'll do that. But yeah, this is my. I thought this was a great thing. So I'll have to bring it up for you. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of throwback jerseys for sure. And
Well, I mean,
I'm not a huge fan of cartoon jerseys, which
right.
Penguins logos are always a little too cartoony for me. I kind of like the baby blues, the old school Penguins better, but
the ones they wore in the Winter Classic I thought were great with the emblem with the circled it was a round emblem with Pittsburgh Penguins on the outside, and I think the penguin was sort of like a Chilly Willy, like a fat penguin. It was I liked that. Now I'll tell you, I think
they were so terrible when they wore those jerseys in real life, though. That's the problem. I mean, back when the Penguins wore those powder blue jerseys, that's the issue. They were so terrible. Continue, Mike. Sorry.
I think the worst third jersey I've seen, and Ryan, you can give me your thumbs up or thumbs down on this one, was the third Edmonton jersey when it had the big rock oil in the middle. That thing was obscene. It was just so stupid.
It was beautiful, Mike. The worst third jersey, come on, to be honest, it was either... Did you ever see the Anaheim Ducks third jersey that looked like pajamas, that had the full duck with the arms up? Oh, that was horrible.
Yes, another cartoon jersey.
Yeah. I mean, there's the fisherman at the New York Islanders fisherman jersey, which was pretty bad. The Tampa Bay Lightning jersey that had the word Bolts on it, which that drives me crazy when teams put nicknames on their jersey. You had Bolts or Sens for the Senators. I think
the Senators barber pole jersey, that was a tough one to swallow.
The Montreal Canadian jersey that had the it looked like a barbershop pole.
That was, I thought, the Senators. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
no, it was Montreal, and that thing I swear gave people epileptic fits. It was like watching a Wang Chung video.
Well, and I still don't understand the Calgary Flames with the flaming horse head.
It's the Calgary Stampede.
This is my idea. Here's my idea,
yes.
Brian.
Very nice.
I think this would be cool.
Yes.
I think this would be, I photoshopped this little thing together, and I think it would be kind of a, I don't know, it was, if you like the Canucks jerseys, which people seem to like, the old, which I can't stand, the ones they brought back.
The rink, I love the rink.
I don't like the rink, and I don't like that jersey at all. If you like that jersey, then I think you gotta like the Sharks, the old California Golden Seals jersey.
Absolutely, I love going with the old school Sharks jersey. That'd be great. But you'd have to include the white skates with it as well. That would be the top.
That's right. And they wore white skates because there was a reason for it too. They actually had a reason.
The owner felt that they were able to blend in with the ice if they had white skates, so that the opposition wouldn't be able to see what was going on with their fancy footwork.
The problem is, the pucks just showed up like glowing to the goalies. You want the opposite of that. You want your skates to abstract. You want the puck not to show up more than the players. So that was a problem. Which is why the Flyers Cooperalls were so popular, because that was just big long black pants. Those were, those really gave goalies fits because you couldn't see the puck going through there. I still believe that had something to do with a 35-game undefeated streak. That's my opinion.
Well, then why didn't Hartford win?
Because they were Hartford, yeah. They were Hartford at the time. That's the difference between them and the Flyers at that point. But yeah, yeah, but that, and I wanted the Flyers to bring back the Cooperalls for the Winter Classic because I knew they would go back to they've already kind of gone back to their vintage jerseys, which is awesome. And they go back because when the Flyers wore their black jerseys, that was horrible.
I mean, I understand the need for marketing. I understand the fact that if you bring up a new jersey that people are going to buy those new jerseys. I get it. And with the Leafs last year and the Red Wings last year when they had those jerseys for the Winter Classic, people gobbled them up. I thought they were both pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you have a team like the Flyers really haven't changed their jersey much over their 46-year history. You really can't do much other than make a jersey that has no connection with the team's history. I know that Buffalo. Buffalo wore their throwback jersey, their 1970s type jerseys for the Winter Classic when they had it against the Penguins. And after that, when they came out with a third jersey, the jerseys were modeled after the old Buffalo Bison's AHL jersey and something that never was worn by a Sabre team since 1970. So, I mean, I can understand the need for marketing, but I also think there has to be a connection with the team's history. And if there's not, I think that you're just ripping off the fans.
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. That you really do need to have some kind of connection. And I never was a fan of basically like the Flyers black jersey. I thought the Flyers did some. You know what? I've talked to people though in marketing, and they always say the black jerseys sell the best, and that's why San Jose went to them. And and I guess they look the best if you're just wearing it, I guess. But when you watch it on the ice, black contrast to white is horrible, and it's just the Bruins are the only ones who should be allowed. That's still my feeling on that one. The Bruins are the only ones who should ever be allowed to wear that. Josh?
We have a Claude Giroux update, guys.
Okay.
Ron Hextall has now announced that Claude Giroux will be out approximately 2 weeks due to a lower body injury.
All right, not so bad.
So that's most of training camp, which, Evgeny Malkin is supposed to be out for most of training camp with his undisclosed injury. They say it's a groin. They said that Crosby was going to be out indefinitely. Now, this morning, he's skating with the team. So I think, I really think that with these organizations, if there's an injury, if there's a slight injury, right now, all they're missing is practice time. All these guys are established. They're the star players. Give them an extra couple weeks. Let them heal up because they're going to be needed and they're going to be handling a primary role for 82 games. So unless we hear something like a serious injury like Josh Harding's broken foot, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute. I don't think there's going to be a lot of fallout with any of these injuries.
No, I don't think so either. And I the one thing I do worry about here though is obviously Giroux last year had a horrible start to the season, and I really was hoping that he would get in and get a really solid, camp in, and obviously it's not going to happen now because he's been kind of like a slow starter a couple times in his career now. So, that's something to be concerned about. That if I don't think there's definitely there could be better news, put it that way.
No, and there's no disputing that Giroux is an integral part of the Flyers. Yeah, I mean, look at those jerseys. They're all pretty
the historical history of the Flyers jerseys, and
they're all the same. I mean,
they're all basically the same. The black jersey. Right. This particular one up here was horrible. That was a like 3-dimensional jersey that they had, where the logo was wacky. But besides that, this was my favorite right in here, where they had when they used to do this, when they did the Stanley Cup, the black Stanley Cup patch on there. That was cool. Teams don't do that anymore. They should have to wear the Stanley Cup patch after they win this the year after. That would really piss everyone off. That would really make everybody else angry. Oh, and speaking of making everyone else angry, I just realized that the Sharks open up in Los Angeles.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
They get to watch the Kings raise the banner. Oh my gosh.
And I've already heard that because I have a bunch of friends who are Kings fans, and I've already heard that they're planning an elaborate, elongated banner raising ceremony with both teams out on the ice, and so it's going to be fantastic.
So I have
cup out. Remember, a couple teams have done this recently. I think it's I think it's a horrible tradition. I was hoping they would stop it, but a couple teams bring the cup back out with them. Are they going to do that? Skate around the ice?
I have an idea of what San Jose can do to change their fortunes. For the opening faceoff, John Scott, once the puck is dropped, skates right towards Jonathan Quick and beats the crap out of him and knocks him silly. Because that's the only thing that he can do. So
and then he for the rest of the year, and all's fine, right?
Yeah. There's his revenge.
There's the revenge. That's all you need. Wow. Yep. You got anything else, Josh, going on over there?
No, I'm just trying to find out more about Giroux. from my buddy that's at the press conference where Hextall's speaking, apparently. So,
Well, yep.
no,
And
nothing else.
Bill Meltzer will be letting us know if anything else comes there as well. Yeah, so I guess that's all the time we got for today, guys. But it was a fun show, fun week, and I just wanted to say enjoy the games. You know, Sunday it all gets started, and sit back and make sure you watch them. I know a lot of these games are going to be on NHL Game Center, which is going to be a free preview, I believe. So definitely check that out for sure. It'll be worth the wait. And yep, and then Monday night I'll be at the I'll be back watching a game as I watch half the Flyers team play, half the Capitals team. Half is fine.
I'll be watching the other half of the Flyers team playing most of the Maple Leafs.
I'll be having half as much fun as I normally would at a game.
Brings up the question: is the roster half full or half empty?
It's exactly right. Well,
It's half empty.
That Maple Leafs team better win that game, Mike, because you know the Flyers are leaving their. You know, when you have a home game, you're going to get the half that I'm going to see is going to be way better than the half you're going to see.
Yeah, the speculation about Randy Carlyle getting fired is going to start on the weekend when they're scrimmaging each other. I mean, please.
Seriously, that's the ticket, right? Oh man. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. Talk to you soon.